So I'm gonna jump on the let's hate on Sneako train in order to like get clicks and views. Probably next I'll start hating on Andrew Tate too, because that's absolutely not gonna give him a bunch of like free publicity and just make him like more popular than what he is. I'm absolutely definitely gonna have to do that. But all joking aside, I keep seeing these videos pop up in my feed of like different people like disagreeing with Sneako or making fun of Sneako or talking about how Sneako fell off and how they miss his old content and blah 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 blah. And they're really worried about Sneako because, you know, it just occurred to me that some of you guys who watch my videos probably don't even know who Sneako is. Well, I mean, if you watch my videos, you probably definitely know who Sneako is, so I would be a bit befuddled if you somehow made it to me and not know who Sneako is. But Sneako is another YouTuber who used to do some pretty, I would say professionally shot, I guess in quotations because he's not a professional, but some very well shot street interview type videos or philosophy type videos where he's just kind of talking and speaking his mind and his thoughts. So recently, as in really last 3 or 4 months or so, he's been live streaming and he's been talking a lot of, I guess you could say, red pill talking points. He's in that phase where he's really enraged about, you know, the fact that, you know, the relationship between men and women is one that is really crap, terrible, antagonistic is probably one of the best words to use. The relationship between males and females is hilariously antagonistic, where young men are trying to figure out ways to kind of like have relationships with women, and women are just like really don't like men just as a concept, like not just even as people, but as a concept. They just don't like men, and it's aggravating and it's frustrating and it's annoying, and you can see it in a lot of what Sneako is doing, which I'm gonna be 100% honest with you is probably a mixture of his hilarity, like just anger at the, you know, realizing the current state of affairs and kind of being tired of women, as well as absolutely, definitely, probably a huge performance in order to be a lot more engaging and entertaining on the internet. To me, I find particularly interesting that people seem to like not put 2 and 2 together, but maybe Sneako really is generally just kind of like that, just like in person, I don't really know. Anyway, the point is, I keep seeing people using clips of Sneako and saying stuff like this.
Sneako spent years making high-quality, professionally produced and edited content. It was objective, it was sincere, and thought-provoking. It took him 7 years to reach 1 million subscribers while doing that. Along the way, he gained respect, notoriety, and a career on the internet, but he recognized an opportunity, a shift in social media where he knew exactly how to act, exactly what to say to amass a large following in a very short period of time. Reacting to other people's videos, shouting, screaming, being bold and aggressive is probably going to have him build a bigger following, a stronger following, and maybe even make more money than he ever has in a way shorter period of time. Maybe he's claiming this is all entertainment so he doesn't have to take accountability. Maybe it truly is just genius marketing. Maybe he's just copying another man's successful strategy. Or maybe he is actually going through something. No matter what his intentions are, no matter what viral stunt he pulls next, no matter how long he drags on this new persona, he knows that if he makes one video apologizing for his spastic behavior, that everything can go back to the way things were before.
And it annoys the heck out of me because it kind of misses the point, like entirely. It's like being upset with Sneako because he's angry and somehow spreading the tale, or I guess the message or the rhetoric of misogyny and incel type stuff kind of obfuscates probably one of the most important and critical questions we need to ask. And that question is, why does this content resonate with people all of a sudden? I mean, did Sneako's why do people stop resonating with Sneako in the first place? But they forget, why does this stuff now resonate with a lot of young men? Why do a lot of young men we all know the answer. We shouldn't pretend that we don't know the answer. And this is kind of something that annoys the heck out of me when I see people criticize the manosphere, criticize the red pill, criticize incels, and criticize the black pillars. It annoys me greatly because whenever people want to criticize these type of individuals, they pretend that they exist in a vacuum, that they just appeared from the ether on a random Saturday afternoon and just decided to hate women. They just decided to, and they just hate women because it was 1 o'clock on a Saturday and they woke up and they stubbed their toe on their way out of bed. That's why they hate women. It's come on. one of the most annoying things in the world to me is again, I keep seeing people trying to criticize the manosphere, and they keep trying to criticize the red pill. They keep trying to criticize all this stuff, but they never actually address why are these young men like this? Like, why are young men resonating with Andrew Tate? Let's just add him in here for a minute. Why do young men resonate with what Sneako is currently saying right now? Like, why? Like, why does that speak to a lot of them? The answer is simple. I'm dragging this out, so like there's a reason why you clicked on this video. I'm dragging this out, so there's like a reason why you guys are here. It resonates with these young men because modern women suck. Because they tried to have relationships with a lot of women, and they sucked. Because a lot of women treated them like garbage. Because a lot of women said that men were trash. Because a lot of women probably friend-zoned them. Because a lot of women broke up with them because he wasn't aggressive enough. Because a lot of women probably broke up with the guy because he was too nice. Because a lot of women probably picked some thug or some gangster over Poindexter. Because some woman did something at some point in time. Now, the correct response to these young men's rage is a rather simple one. That isn't really going to placate them at that moment in time. Because, of course, it's not. And the correct response is you can't collectively hate all women because some of them did some bad things. And that's absolutely true. You shouldn't actually be a real misogynistic person. However, something has to give. Something has to give in this conversation. How is it that a whole group of men are all trying to figure out how do we have relationships with women? How are all of them so friggin' confused? How are so many men so angry and frustrated with trying to communicate with women? How are so many young men saying the same thing about modern women that they're trying to have relationships with? Something has to give. At some point in time, you guys have to acknowledge that there's something going on with the other half of our species if so many men are just confused and angry and tired of dealing with them. Something. And that's what annoys me. Like, to high hell. And I've been making these YouTube videos for several years now. And it's just the one thing that just has always annoyed the shit out of me. This idea that men are just so misogynistic, that men just hate women. I've made numerous different videos talking about misogyny. There's this one video where I made a huge montage of just all the ways men just seem to hate women. Many years ago, I remember that video. I might post it in the description box if you guys forgot it. You know, and it's just like, to me, I just always ask a very critical question. Whenever someone says men are misogynistic, whenever someone says all these insults, I ask why? Why do they hate women? What happened to them to make them hate women? What did women do to men to make them hate them? What did they do? They had to have done something. What did women do to make men hate them? And to be completely honest with you, now that's my question there is more rhetorical than it is legitimate. But if you were to ask for like a legitimate reason, there are plenty of, honestly, legitimate reasons to hate a woman. One of them. Plenty. Because some women are terrible people. I mean, think about this whole arc of a story that you've probably seen on several different occasions. You marry a woman, relationship's great, pretty great. Not all that. It was pretty exciting at first. Things kind of wind down. You get a house with her. You have children with her. You guys stop having sex. You know, you guys just kind of don't talk too much to each other anymore. You're working, you know, you don't really try to, you know, maintain a good, you know, relationship, just talking, being friends and whatnot. And then you find out she's cheating on you. And even though she's cheated on you, she asked for a divorce. You know, she's cheating on you with one of her coworkers, you know, and then she asks for a divorce. She kicks you out of your house. And then she starts telling your kids that, you know, you didn't actually really care. You weren't really invested in her life. Never explains her indiscretions. No, God forbid. And now you have to pay for the house that you no longer live in, and you have to give her alimony, and you have to pay for a divorce lawyer, and you have to pay child support, and you barely get to see those kids that you were in your life for like the last 9 or 10 years. Yeah, there's plenty of okay, fine. So, okay, how about this? How about you met this girl? She was a nice girl. You guys are really good friends. You love talking to her. You love hanging out with her. Every day you're sitting there, you're cuddling with her, you're talking to her, and you just hear her just yap, yap, yappity, yappity, yap about this dude that treats her like garbage. And you would never treat her like garbage. You love this woman. You want to date this woman. You might even want to marry this woman. But this woman doesn't want to have anything to do with you sexually because you're like a brother to her. Now, I'm not saying that you should hate her. Not at all. You don't hate her. You love her. But to be annoyed in such a situation, but worse still, imagine that you're in that situation and then you have a culture, just this huge ideology, I guess you could say, that says that you're a terrible person because you think that you're friend zone. You're not friend zone. You were never entitled to her. She doesn't owe you anything. Even though you spend all of your time with her, even though you give her money, you do all this stuff for her that you wouldn't do for anyone else because you want to prove yourself worthy, you actually don't like her. You don't actually care. You just want to have sex with her. You don't love this woman. You're just like every other toxic guy. The irony being is despite the fact that you work harder than every other toxic guy, she still picks those niggas over you. Listen, I'm not saying that you should hate women. I'm not. But can we stop pretending that there's not a reason why some men would be annoyed, angry, frustrated, and tired of dealing with them? Do you know how many times even I myself have found myself conversing with women and they're just boring? They don't have interest. It's like they don't even know how to talk. It's like they don't know how to actually talk and engage and just explain things that are interesting to them. I can explain why Sauron is a fantastic villain despite the fact that only his eye really appears in the main Lord of the Rings series, a trilogy of books and movies. I could do that. I mean, shoot, even though I say I could do that, my ex-girlfriend could probably do that. She was a very intelligent person. I mean, you know, she had her own issues, but she was actually an intelligent person. And you know what's goofy? It has been years since I have met anyone that could converse with me like she could. And it's not that I haven't been talking to women for the last 10, 11, 15 years or so. It's not that I haven't been trying. Some of them are boring. They don't engage. They just sit there and wait to be entertained. I have to be a clown to get their favor. It's exhausting. Listen, I'm not saying you should hate women. I don't even think Sneako hates women. But he is tired of the standard issue lady being self-obsessed, vain, and honestly just lacking in honor and integrity. Okay, that's me. I'm adding that one. I dislike the fact that women are less than honorable creatures a lot of the time. And of course people would say, well then that means you hate them. You bloody misogynist. You think women have no honor? Well, yeah. Look at the way they talk. Look at the things they say about men. Men are trash. Men are garbage. Men just want one thing. Despite the fact that, much to the contrary of that, you see men aren't garbage, men aren't trash, and men don't just want one thing from them. It's interesting to me that, while it's true that there are shitty men in the world, plenty, my honest opinion is don't date them. Like, I'm not going to lose sleep at night because you don't date a bad man. Please don't date the bad man. Please. I'm begging you. I'm begging you. Don't date shitty people. I'm not going to lose sleep at night because you don't date I'm not upset about that. Like, come on. Bad people are in the world. Leave them alone. That's my opinion on that one. But we have to stop pretending that young men aren't seeing a world where women pick these awful men. Like, here's the thing. Let's jump back onto Andrew Tate for a moment. How can Andrew's brand of toxic, bravado bullshit work if women don't find it endearing or attractive to some degree? He's one of the most cartoonishly villainous sons of bitches I've ever seen in my life. And yet, women are still flocking to this cigar-smoking, mafia boss-esque looking son of a gun who talks about acquiring resources and how we need, like, masculinity back and blah, 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 blah. If none of these red pill ideas worked, why do they work? I mean, to some degree. To some extent, they do work. And I think that's something that just has to be said. It has to be spoken about. Like, why are women enamored? Why do women care? I mean, there's plenty of reasons. I've explained numerous times why they do work, but that's not the point. The point is, you can't keep looking at guys like Sneako and being upset with him because he's upset. Like, how are you upset with someone for being upset? How are you mad that someone's mad? This whole idea, this whole narrative or story of men and misogyny is bullcrap. If there are misogynists in society, which there most certainly are, there are certainly men who, if not hate women, they definitely don't have a much regard for them, right? Like, there's plenty of them out there. Honestly, you should just choke them out, vote with your wet-ass P-words, and leave those men alone. Is honestly the greatest piece of advice ever to be given to women ever. Don't talk about those men. Don't talk to those men. Leave them alone. But it's like they can't stop. It's like they can't stop themselves from dealing with these men that just apparently don't like them. So to that extent, it's like something has to give where we stop getting upset with men for being upset at the fact that they've been mistreated. And we look at the behaviors of women earnestly, authentically, and start saying something's going on with the modern woman and how they are treating men, how they're relating to men, what they think about men, how they feel about men. Is their take on men very fair? And the honest answer to that question is no, it's not fair at all. It's very, very heavy-handed. It's the worst possible interpretation of all their actions at every given point in time. They have no respect for us. They treat us like we're objects. They treat us like we're tools. They like to take our money. They like to use our utility. They like to use us as things and objects, but very seldom do they ever respect the fact that we're emotional creatures that might need a bone every now and again. It hurts them. It pains them so to give men even just the inkling, just a tiny little bit of a bone and some appreciation, despite the fact that they have the most grandiose expectations of young men ever. Think about it for a second. We have men who are willing to run into burning buildings and save people, not firefighters, just regular random men will run into a burning building to save their children. And there's this one story, this one guy doing it to save people he didn't even know. You have men of such character. There are so many stories of men doing great, wonderful things for people they don't even know. And yet, despite the fact that there are many a tale of the awesome adventures and greatness of men, we actually have women who run around here with the silliest idea that we somehow, all of us, the grand, most general take of men is that we're trash. And we're supposed to take the fact that we're trash, despite the fact that we try so hard to appeal to them, and just eat that shit. No! Sneako is commenting on something very real and very powerful. And that is the fact that a lot of men are tired of women. And I think we have to start evaluating what women are doing to men to get them to this point. Because if we don't, we might actually, legitimately, start getting real misogynists. And I'm going to tell you something, ladies. You don't want to live in a world with real misogyny. You don't. You really don't. Okay? Okay. So that being said, I just hope you guys got something out of today's video. And if you did, go and click the like button. And shoot, go and click that subscribe button. Comment in the comment box below. As always, you guys have yourselves a great day. I'll see you cool cats soon. Adios.